Hi, this is Lucy Cardenas. The purpose of this presentation is to talk to you a little bit about my internship experience at Communities and Schools of North Texas, or CIS. CIS is an advocacy organization created to provide support to at-risk students within the schools and to connect parents to community resources. Some of the services they provide on a daily basis include in-school snacks, clothing, academic support, through supplies and crisis intervention, such as counseling and mentoring programs. They also connect families to social services, such as free healthcare, food banks, and other community resources within their area. So basically, if there's a need that is affecting the success of the students, they will try to fill it. Finding and arranging the internship. I started networking at the beginning of my junior year. I let my acquaintances know that I was looking for an internship related to marriage and family studies. It so happens that I knew a few people in different fields related to this major. I interviewed them and tried to get a good feel for what they did to see if this was something that I was interested in doing. By the time I was ready to do my internship, I had a friend who worked with CIS, and she told me a little bit about what she did and how much she loved the job. So I decided to apply. She told me to go to CISNT.org, and I went to the website. I filled out an application. 2 weeks later, I got a call from the supervisor at CISNT, and she basically just interviewed me to see if this was something that would work with my major, to make sure that if I did the internship, I was actually going to benefit from it. Once we both agreed that this was a good fit, then she went ahead and sent me an application, which is basically since we are working within the school district, I had to fill out an intensive background check as well as do some fingerprinting. So that took another couple of weeks, and when all of that came back, we were able to submit the application to Brigham Young University, Idaho, and start the process to make sure that I was going to be getting credit for my internship time. After that, she assigned me to a school, and I was able to start my internship. So as far as my responsibilities, CISNT basically assigns a site coordinator to oversee the program at each different school that they're in charge of. The site coordinator will have an office where at the assigned school, which they're able to keep their supplies and provide whatever support the children need. So for the first 2 weeks, I basically shadowed my supervisor so that I could learn every aspect of her job. I attended every meeting, and I helped her with whatever she was doing. Once I got a feel of the job, I was assigned my own caseload of children to work with. I was basically able to assist her in servicing the needs of the children. Some of the services that I provided, including tutoring. We had a few kids that were having issues with English, reading, and math, so I was assigned, sometimes they would be in groups, sometimes they would be individual. We had other tutors from different colleges that came in to help, and so we were able to kind of communicate with each other and strategize what kind of methods we could use to help the children. But we were each assigned our different students to work with. The other part of the program that I assisted with was mentoring. She assigned me a caseload of 5 children. These are kids who had a history of getting in trouble at school or had severe anxiety attacks. And so basically I counseled them and helped them to learn some coping mechanisms. Another part of it was crisis intervention. At times we would have kids come in because they were having issues at school, and we would be able to talk to them and help them to be able to sort out their emotions. At other times, we had kids who were in the middle of an emotional meltdown. Some of these kids were being destructive, lashing out at the teachers, hitting them, throwing chairs, things like that. So then we would be called and we would help to cool them down and help them to be able to do some coping mechanisms so that they were able to settle down and get back to doing their schoolwork. This was actually one of my favorite parts of the job because we were able to learn how to talk to these kids, and a lot of times they learned that, or we learned that all they wanted is to be understood and heard, and so we were able to avoid them from getting kicked out of school and being able to help them to get back to a normal day. Another part of my responsibility at the internship was data entry. And this is basically because it's a state-sponsored program, we're required to keep track of the services that we provide for the kids as well as the time that we spend on them. So I think I mentioned before, we are required to serve at least 100 kids throughout the semester, and each child needs to receive 70 hours of service. Site coordinators have an array of responsibilities to help these children and provide support for them. So because of the uh, big load of children that they have to work with, having an intern really makes it possible for them to really provide quality service. So I was able to basically back her up and do all the things that she wasn't able to do whenever she had to step out of the office. I think I mentioned before earlier that, we did have kids walking into our office throughout the day. Some of them needed snacks, some of them needed a change of clothes, and others just wanted somebody to talk to. And other times, my site coordinator had to step out because she had to intervene with somebody who was having a meltdown. So when she stepped out, I needed to be there so that I can provide service for any of the kids that came in. I did mention before there are other kids, other college kids who come in to tutor and mentor, but I was able to provide a more in-depth service because of the training that I've had through my coursework at BYU, Idaho, as well as my personal experience in working with at-risk families at church. So I did a little bit more than just mentor and tutor. I was actually able to do some counseling and do some help these kids to be able to work out their emotional issues. Knowledge and experience gained from CISNT. Working as an intern, I had the unique opportunity to work in different areas, which gave me a good feel for what field I might want to pursue. Some of these were social work. The site coordinator actually has to be licensed as a social worker, since they are working primarily with low-income families that have various needs. As a site coordinator, they are responsible for assessing the needs of children and their families and helping them to acquire the services. Family counseling. I was assigned a few kids to mentor. These were mainly students who had a history of getting in trouble or had some social and emotional issues. I was able to teach them some coping skills that I learned in the marriage and family classes. In addition, I was able to observe and identify the signs of mental health issues. Of course, since I'm not a licensed therapist, I'm not able to diagnose. However, I was able to recommend further assessment. I also was able to apply and learn a little bit more about advocacy. I was able to attend ARD meetings in which school staff met with the parents to discuss the academics and other challenges the child is having. At the meeting, the different attendees are able to coordinate the plan of action needed to help the child. This is where it will be decided whether the child needs to be assessed for academic challenges, recommend tutoring, or receive additional support and emotional support. In addition, we would discuss how we might be able to provide support for the family through social services in the community. The end goal was not just to make sure that the child's academic needs were being met, but also to make sure that the emotional needs were being considered. As far as connection between the coursework and the internship at CISNT, one of the classes that I recently took, we learned a lot about the importance of advocating for the family, both through volunteer work as well as working in the fields that support the strengthening of home and family. CISNT is definitely a place where the main focus is advocacy for the family. They want to make sure that the kids we're not just putting out fires, but they're striving to get to the core of the problem and providing the services that the family needs in order to resolve these issues. The other connection was one of my classes was child development. We learned a little bit about mental health illnesses and its causes, as well as some coping strategies. So I was able to recognize some of the issues that the kids had, such as ADHD, anxiety, depression, and PTSD in children. And I was able to apply some coping strategies such as the triangle breathing methods and other strategies that the kids were able to use so that they can calm themselves down and redirect their emotions. So some of the another class that I took, we also learned about the applying the ABCX model to help the families in crisis. So again, we found out what the problem was, and we were able to assist families so that they can resolve the crisis that they were in, whether it was financial or whether it was a family issue. We were able to have the opportunity to intervene. Would I recommend this site experience to other students? Very much. I loved working with CISNT because I had the opportunity of doing different things that were relating to marriage and family. So again, we did social services, we did counseling, and we did advocacy. So this is definitely a great place to experience different aspects of this major and to help you decide what direction you really want to take it. So as far as me personally, because I did have the opportunity to talk to counselors that were licensed therapists that were within the program, I was able to talk to social workers and what kind of licensing they will need. I had the opportunity to talk to all these different fields, and that gave me a better direction of where I wanted to be. So I was able to decide that I wanted to focus on social services. And all this because I was able to experience an array of fields within the program. The other thing that I like about it is that it's easy to apply. The initial step, again, is just to go to their website and fill out a simple application. And after that, even though there is a little more process to it, they really don't make it very complicated to join. They really want you to join. They want you to be there because they need a lot of help and they really want to be there for the kids. So the staff is very friendly. I loved working with my supervisor, and she really wanted to give me the opportunity to have a first-hand experience. So again, in order to apply at the CISNT, the website is CISNT.org, and the contact that we had there is Tasha Moore, and I'm posting her phone number as well as her email. After you apply, it may take a few days or maybe even a couple of weeks before they will reply because they are busy. But if you shoot her an email, she is more likely to respond to that. So